seeing how you actually treat people and talk to people. You're not just a mean boss. I would work for your crew. I think you've earned a lot of respect from guys like Nate and Jeff and Tyler.
Hang on a second. What did he just say? What did he say?
What?
He said he would work for your crew.
We should.
I got a challenge. I got a challenge right now.
What's that?
I want Joey to come work on your crew for a day.
And welcome back to another episode of When I Grow Up, where we are following the story of Parker McGee, who dropped out of college in hopes of becoming a partner of TSR Concrete Coatings, the largest residential concrete coating company in the nation. As always, this show is built to inspire young people that there are other ways to be successful that do not include going to college. My name is Joey. I am the new host, I suppose, of this show. Jeff?
Yeah. Let's just get right to it. We fired that E-Mark.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of...
Tough break.
We had a lot of people talking to us about the last podcast and E-Mark being on it. And although people like E-Mark, I had probably like 15 people that were like, hey, is there any way we can just keep Joey? And I go, that was a pretty simple call. I've been wanting to fire E-Mark my whole life.
So Jeff calls me up and lets me know that I'm fired from producing the show. And I was pretty saddened, but then he told me that I was hired for hosting the show. So the day got better and better.
Yeah. Hey, things change around here all the time, real fast.
Absolutely. Got to keep you guys on your toes.
So congratulations, Joey, on your promotion.
Thank you. I love it. Happy to be here. So today on the show, we have myself. We have CEO and co-founder of TSR, Jeff Gear, and the star of the show, Parker McGee. So I'm just going to quickly give you guys a quick recap of the last episode, although I highly recommend you listen to it. In the last episode, we talked about Parker's experience being his own crew leader for the first time. Parker did run into some conflict with a few of the crew members, one of whom was actually removed from his crew and placed on a different crew. Jeff was quite happy with the quality of floors that Parker is laying down, but it is taking him just a little bit longer than it should as far as the last episode is concerned. And we had COO and co-founder Tyler Russell on the show as well, which was amazing to have him on. And he made it very clear that he does not believe Parker is anywhere close to being ready to run his own locations, but Parker is asking all of the right questions. And that is where the last episode ends. Jeff, you want to kick us off today?
Yeah, so far with Parker, we are 26 projects in. So he started August 31st, and as of today, he is 26 projects in.
And today is October...
It's October 5th. Yep. So we've got nearly a job every day. Parker doesn't work Saturdays. That's his own personal choice. He doesn't understand that whenever he actually does own his own location, that you don't get to work 5 days, you get to work 8.
Eight out of 7.
So I don't know. Are you taking it? Are you taking it easy right now, or what is what's the motivation behind not working Saturdays?
I need to take it easy now, because when I own my own location, it'll be 8 days, so I might as well make them up right now.
You're gonna work 8 out of 7 days a week,
and when I'm getting paid more for it, I might as well work 7.
Oh, here we go.
What do they say? It's awesome being an entrepreneur because you can pick whatever 80 hours a week you want to work, right?
Yeah. What I think, the mistake that Parker just said is that he thinks he's going to get paid more to work more days when he owns his own location. And it doesn't work that way.
Wow.
We're talking about a pay raise though, right, Joey? Before?
Yeah. We'll get to that. At the end of the episode.
Yeah, I think it was a hard no.
Nah. Listeners, you're going to have to find out. You're going to have to find out. Just wait till the end.
Just wait till I send your invoice.
So, Jeff, if I'm a customer, right, and I've listened to every episode, and I'm like, I see Parker roll up. I didn't know he was coming to do my job, my driveway.
Gosh, shit.
I see Parker in the truck. I'm like, am I hopping on the phone, calling the office, asking for a new crew? Or what's going on? Like, is Parker laying down quality floors? Is this something customers have to be concerned about?
No, I don't think so at all. And like I just said, he did 26 projects. Wow. We've had 0 complaints, actually nothing but compliments so far. So earmuffs on that, Parker. Don't want your head to expand.
I see the reviews. Yeah. I see the reviews.
He wrote them. No, he didn't.
Parker writes his own reviews.
No, but for real, he's done a good job with the 26 projects that he's put out there. And he's worked through some adversity. You know, not all the projects we've given him are easy. I think he kind of got some shit from the other guys in the very beginning, like the first 2.5 weeks or something. They were like, "Oh man, he gets all the easy jobs all the time. You know, he's getting done by like 2:00 every day." And then, you know, we don't do that on purpose.
Right.
Like, that's not a thing. So, how did it go this last week? Like, how was it? How was it for you in Austin?
I got paid less than the $20 an hour for sure after working till 8:00 at night.
So wait, how do you get paid? So you don't get paid hourly?
We get paid 10 hours every day.
Flat.
By whatever your wage. If you're a team crew lead, 20. Second or third, you get 17. So we try to beat the clock every day.
Oh, so you make more per hour.
Yep.
Cool.
Go as fast as we can, get home, because it's not like we're making any more money sitting there waiting and letting the time pass.
It's a good motivational pay structure there.
Yeah, so it's kind of, you know, where I picked it up from was like it's like flat rate for like a mechanic, right? So if a mechanic, you know, every job is assigned 10 hours per like person per job, like a book hour, right? Yep. And what it's actually done, and these guys is that I feel like the customer gets a crew that doesn't stop working, right? Because oftentimes, like especially when I go to their jobs, if they break for lunch, it's a half hour, 15 minutes maybe. If it's Chad Musser's job, you don't get a break. Like that's not, they don't get.
Must be a tough crew leader.
Yeah, he is. Like you don't get to take a break on Chad's crew. But what it does is it forces these guys to work all the way through. The attention to detail is much better. So
awesome.
I think that it's a good plan for us and for them. And then, but you know what? If they get done a little bit earlier, they still get 10. But if it takes them a little bit later, that's not my fault and not TSR's fault.
It'll average out. Hopefully,
they win more often than not.
That's good. So Parker, I wanted to talk to you about college. This show is actually built around inspiring young people that college isn't the only option, and we haven't talked enough about college. I want to know, and the listeners want to know, I'm sure, why did you really drop out of college in the first place, and what was really motivating you to go to college in the first place, and then how long did you make it in college, and why did you drop out? Did you just quit because it was too hard, scholastically, or what's the reasoning?
Are you not smart enough?
I'm not going to ask it like that. It's very unpolitical. Scholastically too hard.
Is it scholastically too hard, or are you just not smart enough?
So same question.
Also, and we can recap that question, but I want to kick in there, Joey. How did COVID-19 play into that?
Oh yes,
right.
Yeah, because that changed a lot of things for a lot of people.
Yeah, I would say going to college was definitely it's a social norm, right?
Yeah.
Listening to my dad and mom and seeing all my brothers and sisters go through it and a lot of other people in the world go through it, it's a good plan, right? That gives you somewhere to start. So seeing all that, we're going to college, right? So I went to college.
You just figured you had to go. It was kind of the next step for you.
Yep. And we kind of talked about before the show. I was like, I think a lot of people on this show think, this kid's not very smart. That's probably why he chose this.
But that's not true at all, right?
No, I was second in my class in high school, higher than a 4.0 GPA. I had all A's and B's in college, studying biology, which obviously isn't very easy.
And this was with you in high school playing sports.
Yep,
and doing quite well in that as well, right?
And in college playing football too.
Yeah.
But seeing COVID play into the whole college thing this year, I know a lot of people I've heard personally of a lot of people dropping out. One of my best friends goes to Platteville and plays on the football team up there, and we were just talking about it the other week, and he's like, dude, I don't even like school right now. He's like, I don't get to do anything fun that college is supposed to be. He said that's not what it is right now. He said you sit in your room all day and your online classes, paying full tuition. So they're jamming you for a lot of money for not the same education or college experience for sure.
Interesting. So it sounds like college may be being uncovered a little bit, as it's marketed very, very, very well. And some people go there for the experience, maybe even superseding their reasoning for going there for the actual education and what they're going to get out of it. So that's an do you have any comments on that, Jeff? I know you're kind of an advocate of
My mom's not in here.
not
anymore,
going to college.
Yeah, like
No, she left. I saw her leave
left.
earlier.
Okay, good. So here's what I think, and I think that Parker made initially like one hell of a gamble, right? Because we didn't really know where we were at with this whole COVID thing.
Right.
And he kind of came out a little bit early, before people were going back to class and whatever, and saying like, hey, I'm not going back to school. And I think that there was like some hesitation from like probably your coach, right?
Yep.
Because they were still in the mindset that they were going to play college football, which didn't happen, right?
Yep.
And like going back to classes and things like that. And so it was a gamble on his part. Take the experience and take the education out of it. Let's just go straight COVID-19 on this one and say, dude, you rolled the dice and you won, because going to school, you were going to pay $20,000+ to sit in a dorm room and stare at your laptop.
And that's per semester, right? $20,000 a semester or a year?
$20,000 a year.
A year, okay.
I thought it came out to be like 24, so 12 a semester.
Yeah. Wow. So the reasons that he was going to school, one, to actually go to school and be taught, not in online capacity, and
right.
two, to play a sport, i.e. football. Neither one of those things happened. So I guess the question is if you say you didn't do this, say we didn't do When I Grow Up, say you didn't come to work at TSR full time and you were just doing the marketing thing from your dorm room like you were before, how stupid would you feel now?
Pretty stupid.
That's all you have to say. Fair enough.
I mean, but seriously, do you feel like you won? I mean, do you feel like the decision that you made, and then hearing from your friends and all of these things, like, do you feel like just purely on that, did you feel like that you made the right decision?
No, yeah, absolutely. I'm at home doing I can go up to college and hang out with my buddies on the weekend. I can do all the other things I want to do. I've been hunting a lot. I've been hanging out with my family a lot. So everything they can't really do, being away from all their families and home life, they sit in their dorm room masked up. So
plus you're making money instead of
spending
money, going into debt. So you're actually making money, which is what people go to college to do anyway, is in hopes of getting a career that can be a better ROI than what they spent to go. So yeah, that's amazing.
If he actually worked Saturdays, he'd make more money.
If I got a pay raise, I'd make more money.
That's both are facts, big facts being spit here right now.
But think about the flip. So the ROI, right? So you're talking about spending $20,000 to sit in a dorm room and hopefully get something out of it and not be able to play the sport that you love,
right?
Or come out and make $50,000-$60,000. The flip on that is 80 G's.
Yeah, that's
it in 1 year.
Yeah,
that's the flip.
It's fantastic.
And you know what they say, you can always go back to school.
Yeah, they do say that. School is marketed very heavily. I would suggest that anything that you're seeing everywhere, if you see so many paid ads about anything, you have to understand that people are making an incredible ROI if you're seeing it that much. So college is being marketed so well, and college is being just shoved down everybody's throats. There's a lot of money to be made. The only reason marketing campaigns generally exist is to make money. So colleges have multiple different reasons for wanting students there that do not necessarily include their education.
Yeah, well, I would also assume that their enrollment is awful this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
What reason do they have to go back?
Yeah, and even the cost of college has skyrocketed ever since the federal government now guarantees federal student loans to any U.S. citizen. Guess what happens when money is guaranteed to somebody?
I'll tell you right now, the government guarantees garage floor coatings.
What?
To every American.
They do?
No, but if they did.
Guess what Jeff would be doing with his prices right now?
You would see some hella marketing dollars.
Yeah, and prices of the floors would be going up because guess who's paying for them?
Yeah, of course. Because they're backed and you can't default on them either.
Exactly. Yeah, so I would just be cautious. just be cautious. I did go to college. I have my degree in business administration. I'm not dogging on it completely. I know Jeff went to college.
Yeah. Well, because we didn't know. We weren't smart like Parker.
Yeah. We couldn't have predicted it.
I didn't have smart people around me, Joey.
Not only this, Joey just got promoted to podcast.
Yeah. Without any, Jeff didn't even ask to see my diploma for that. And I got this job hosting this show right here in Lena,
Listen,
Illinois.
I'm going to need to see some references.
E-Mark, just call E-Mark. He'll tell you everything you need to know. But what I was getting at is I actually had a college professor, teacher, actually. I guess he wasn't technically a professor because it was community college, but he was a teacher, and he had worked his whole life actually in the business world. So his job was not mostly being a teacher. His job was working. I think he was some sort of product lead manufacturer, something for Solo Cup, actually, Red Solo Cups. Red Solo Cup. That company.
Yeah. There you go.
So him being a teacher, he was my favorite teacher ever because he actually worked in corporate America. He actually had a job in the business realm. And he told me that the safest thing you can do is be an entrepreneur, which was contrary to everything I've ever heard in my life. He told me the safest thing you can do is run your own business. And when we asked him why, he said, because you can make more decisions and you're not at the mercy of somebody else. Like if you need to pivot during COVID, you can pivot. You can be in control of those decisions. Now there's risks in everything that you do, but I was a supervisor at JCPenney in Freeport last year at this time.
How'd that work out for you, Joey?
Exactly. They're closing. And I almost did not quit because I'm like, yeah, it's a steady paycheck. It's a safe job. And before that, I worked at Shopko. So
oh man,
both companies have closed.
I'm a little scared. These guys like the Grim Reaper of business.
The
Maybe
opposite.
our podcast is going to close.
No. When I leave, the business closes. So
oh, okay. As long as as long as I continue to employ you to run the podcast, that will be good.
Yeah, we should be.
So
No, but yeah. With that being said, there's something to be said about entrepreneurship and owning your own business and being in charge of your own decisions. Would you agree with that college professor's statement that it's safer to be in charge?
Well, I think I would say yes. I would agree that it's safer to be in charge as long as the right person is in charge. I mean, it would be
very true.
It would, you can still run into problems. Like I said, like if I just turned Parker loose right now, is it safe for Parker to be in charge of his own market? And like, look at he's smiling.
Let's get a zoom in on that face. Remind me to zoom in the editing room.
I'd like my odds.
A little rocky, right? But no, it's we have been able to pivot through different things like COVID-19 and market changes and housing collapses and financial crises and things like that. As an entrepreneur of a small business, I guess we'll call this a small business. I'm able to make decisions that corporate America and larger companies just generally can't make. I like to think of it, when I'm talking to some of my friends that work at companies like that, like they always tell me it's like the Titanic, right? They're like, we can see the iceberg, we know it's there, but because of like our channels,
too much of a behemoth.
Yeah, our corporate structure doesn't allow us to not hit it.
Yeah.
We have to hit it and then learn from it, and hopefully we survive. Where like a company like TSR, we're like, oh yeah, there's an iceberg, let's go this way.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think that there's a lot of credibility to that.
Yeah, I'd have to
What
agree.
about like college as like an insurance policy? I mean, do you guys feel like maybe that's more of how it's potential, like the guys of college anymore is really just like an insurance policy for these kids?
I think so. That's one of the big factors why I went to college was I thought
it's really expensive insurance.
Yeah, it is. But with insurance, you hope you never have to use it. Whereas with college, you're banking on the fact that you're using it. I know a lot of people that have graduated with 4-year degrees in marketing and business administration that have to work at Arby's and work at Burger King. And when they graduate, they can't get into their field. And when they do, they find out the pay starts at $15 an hour.
Yeah, but can we stop asking people for 4 fucking years of experience for an entry-level job? Like, can we stop doing that? can we stop asking for all of these references? Like I look at some
Do
of
you
these,
ask for those references when you
no,
hire people
I don't
here?
care about any of that. What I care about is the person sitting in front of me. I don't look at their resume. I actually, when I get their resume and they give it to me, I flip it over. And I ask
really cool.
I ask my own questions because I want to get to know them and who they're about. And I mean, let's just face it. We've all built a resume in here. Even our new producer,
Andrew.
Andrew.
Well, what do you go by? Little Boots?
Little Boots.
Li-
So Little Boots, you've made a resume before, right? You've applied somewhere? Yeah. Okay. Was 99% of what you put on there bullshit besides your name? No. It was. So the thing is that you look at,
Don't put that in there. Okay.
you look at, it's totally bullshit. I don't know where he works, but he definitely lies. Look out for Little Boots when he applies. But the truth is what people put on the resume is not like factual to who they are. I mean, yeah, it might have like dates and times and places that they work.
It's the Instagram profile picture
Oh, absolutely.
of your life. Like
Yeah.
I added that sun flare in there. You know, I made it look the way I wanted it to look. My best of my best.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like if that's the best that they have, like, and it goes both ways. Like it could be a glowing resume,
Yeah.
right? Or it could be a complete shit one.
Yep.
And more often than not, the ones that are completely terrible are probably the better candidate, right? I don't want to be sold. I want to see who the person is for real. So. Yeah, that's how I feel about interviewing and resumes and things like that. And Parker's gonna learn. He's gonna learn all that.
Right. I wonder even how it got drilled into employers' heads that you need somebody with a 4-year degree. I wonder what's going on. If there's some sort of conspiracy with the colleges and the workforce, because it seems like the educational system, and I know this might be way off track for the listeners of a TSR concrete coating show, but I feel like the educational system is actually set up to create employees, not create thinkers, not create entrepreneurs. And I say that because when did you ever learn about entrepreneurship, in high school? When did you ever learn about starting a business? You learn how to get projects done that you're told to get done. You're graded upon those projects. Like they don't teach you financial literacy.
Well, let's find
It's
out.
removed.
I mean, I haven't been to college in 16 years. You haven't been in a while.
Yeah.
So last year you were in college. Was that ever an option? Was it brought up?
I'd like to say I learned more about real world situations working 3 months here than I ever did in college.
I believe it.
So getting down to
And how much did you have to pay Jeff to work here for the time that you've
Yeah,
worked
wait
here?
a minute.
How much did you have to pay Jeff?
I have to be around him.
Okay.
Fair. So let's talk about those real world situations. So you've been working with Austin,
Yep.
and we reallocated Blake.
Doesn't Austin have another name? Is he?
No, Austin Howard.
It's Austin. Okay.
Austin, and we reallocated Blake. You guys weren't getting along.
Correct. Right?
Yeah. So
Yeah, what? Yeah.
Yeah. He was the one that threw the paint roller in the last episode.
The weird thing about podcast, Parker, is that you have to respond.
Yeah. And
Well,
we're actually like zooming in on your face when you're not responding.
Yeah, we discussed it already, so All right.
Okay.
All right, keep going.
Not on the podcast.
So-
And then we had Aldo was working with you. He was actually a new guy a couple weeks ago, and we're talking. You just mentioned real world experience. So tell us what it was like dealing with him.
So I know people have their own struggles. Some people, he kept telling me it's hard for him to wake up because he's never had a job like that. So I was
Okay.
giving him a little leeway, right? It started to keep continuing to happen, and I finally came back and I was like, this is not. Jeff always tells me, do it how you would want to do it at your location. That's literally how I approach every floor. I'm nitpicky about everything because I would never want to call back owning my own TSR location, right?
Right.
So when that started happening, he kept showing up late. I kind of came back to Jeff and I'm like, dude, he's got to go. I was like, there's no, if you let him, or if we let him continue to do this, then other people are going to start showing up late because they're going to see that and think that's okay.
And for the listeners, not to cut you off, but in the last episode, Aldo had been showing up late several times, and we called him on the show and talked to him. That part was edited out, but we did call him and talk to him.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, and we don't know the results. We don't know if Aldo was let go or not. We just know that he was put on kind of probation. 3 strikes, you're out, kind of a deal. So
It was like a 5th strike.
yeah,
Yeah, he
Was
fouled 2.
Was he?
Fouled 2 into the bleachers.
Did he quit? Was he fired? The listeners still don't know, even from the last episode.
So what had happened is we basically kind of put him on notice, right? Like, don't do it again. Like, this is where we're at.
So you gave him multiple chances.
Well, I was like, you've worked here 4 weeks, and we're on like our 5th infraction. Like, Walmart doesn't give you that many.
That's no bueno.
Yeah, it's no, and to Parker's credit, like, he was very more understanding than I would generally be with somebody who'd been here, because what it does is sets a bad standard, right,
for everyone,
for everybody. Yeah. And so finally, like, the 6th time, like, Parker gets a hold of me and he's like, dude, I don't want to work with him anymore. He can't show up. He's like, and I'm not the only guy that he's not showing up for. He's like, there's other team leaders that have asked me, like, hey, has this kid done it to you? Like, I think he called, no showed for somebody, right?
He showed up. He drove to the job site, but still unacceptable.
Yeah.
I think one guy, he actually did no call, no show, like, didn't show up at all. Like,
wow.
wasn't even a thing. So I brought him in here. I talked to him. I said, hey, here's the deal. We're gonna let you go because you for whatever reason, you can't show up. You're either late or you don't show up at all. And he was like, so do you want me to quit? I was like, no, you're fired. Like,
have you ever been fired before?
Like, you don't get to quit right before I fire you. Right. That's not how this works. Like, no. So we let him go.
Yeah.
And I think he was, but I think the hard part about that, and it really speaks to, like, our generation, right? And I say our generation, even though I'm 34 and he's 20. I don't know. I think there's a generational difference in there. Maybe
you're a millennial. He's a Gen Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that
Me and you are millennials, though, Jeff.
Yeah. We don't work at all, I think, according to our parents. But I think that's, like, and Aldo was somewhere in between. And I think that's part of the issue is, like, somewhere between the ages of 18 and 36 right now, you have to have accountability for your actions. Mm-hmm. And the fact that, like, he just didn't quite understand that there was no accountability. Like, I could see it in his eyes. Like, he didn't actually feel like he did anything wrong.
Yeah, he thought it was just a little slap on the hand, back to work,
Yeah, which actually kind of made me sad. Like, it didn't make me mad anymore. Like, it just kind of was like, you left this job, I don't know what he was making, it was maybe like $12 an hour or something like that, to a job that pays substantially better at 17 and an hour just as a regular production tech, as a helper on a crew. And,
yep.
And you couldn't even do, like, the littlest thing, like show up on time. Like, that's where it starts.
Yeah.
Like, it starts at show up on time. And so it was just really disappointing. And it disappointed me as somebody who hires people, because the time and effort that was lost we don't have a lot of turnover here. And so the fact that we had that one, like, I don't know how much, what the ROI on that is, like, what it cost me. And it was like
cost you to train him versus
yeah, for sure,
what he produced for you.
Yeah, and, like, I don't know what the negative amount is, but it's not good. It doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make me feel good I wasted his time, Parker's time either, putting him with her. So, but speaking of which, he has somebody new tomorrow.
Oh, do you know who it is?
Yep. So we already got a text. We're scheduled to meet at 5:30. I told him to show up 5 minutes early if he needs to.
A brand new person?
Yep.
Yeah, he was in orientation today. So, well, cool thing is he was actually a referral from some of our other guys. So one of the best type of people that we can have here is referrals from other employees.
Makes sense.
Because they tend to already have a general understanding of what we're about.
Yep.
And I already told Aaron, I was like, listen, here's the deal. Parker will fucking leave you in the parking lot. Like, he's not, like, if you are here at 5:31, you are driving to the job site, which, by the way, tomorrow is in Mukwonago. It's very far away.
I try to uphold that too, because I feel like if I did wait for him every time, they would see me as that pushover little kid, right? This kid's, how old is this guy?
He's like 28.
So 28. So he's already probably looking at
Yeah,
me.
like this guy is my boss.
Yeah, actually, purposely, I make him listen to the podcast. So
This is part of your orientation.
no, for real, it is. Yeah, he's like, they have to listen to all 5 podcasts before they get with him.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, but
That's awesome.
so if I don't uphold that standard of making them show up on time without, I will leave. Like you said, I will leave, and I think I've already said this on another podcast. I'll leave and work harder than let someone show me up and not show up on time.
And that has nothing to do with your age. That just has to do with being a leader, right? You're gonna have to do that.
Standards.
If the kid working for you is 19, younger than you or older than you, you have to uphold it, or people will take advantage of you.
Yep.
And it'll affect the job, and it'll most importantly affect the customers' experience.
Yeah, which we definitely don't want.
Absolutely not. So, what is one thing? We haven't asked this. We didn't ask this last time, I don't think. What is one thing that Parker really does need to still improve on? Generally, the answer to that question has been just his overall kind of leadership and setting the tone and making sure, when somebody's throwing a fit and throwing a roller, an adult person is throwing a roller into a trailer and customers are watching, that he needs to make sure that's being taken care of right then and there. Is that something? It sounds like he's getting a little more confrontational in a good way.
Yeah, so that portion of things, I think if you would ask me that maybe 6 weeks ago, it would have definitely have been like, how's he's not handling the personnel, right? The personnel that are working for him. I think that we can all agree that we've taken care of that,
Wonderful.
Like one of the hardest parts of any leader or anybody that's in management for the first time, I think, is probably firing that first person, or that was his decision. That wasn't mine. I'm like, Parker, that's your guy. So, it's a very emotional experience, I think.
Yep.
For the very first time, because that's one person, he's never going to forget that individual his entire life, because he ruined that guy's life. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
There's the hook intro to the episode. Parker ruins man's life.
Yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, hopefully he can see that as I can't keep doing that, because I finally learned his lesson. It's not just a slap on the wrist. Because that's a huge hit on his life, right?
Yep, it is.
So,
well, it's a missed opportunity of a huge increase from where he was at financially.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that Parker has done a really good job of stepping up into that role, and I've been beating on him pretty hard about handling those type of situations. Where could he use probably a little bit more improvement? I would really like to see the excitement from the customer on the job. Not that they don't, but I think that the amount of reviews and the overall praise for you in Austin could be a little bit higher.
You want more raving fans.
Yeah, raving fans, and especially because, one, we are doing the podcast. I think are you referring anybody to listen to them?
I've told a few people my story, but not necessarily referred them to the podcast.
Yeah, think about this. You're going every single day, you're meeting a new person who has no idea who you are. People listen to podcasts all the time when they're in the car.
Yep.
I think that you could do a little bit better job of promoting your personal brand.
Yep.
Yeah. So it seems like I have to say, watching this kind of from an outsider's perspective, I have to say I'm actually pretty impressed with Parker. There's a lot of people that I don't think would. There's a lot of people I don't think would take the kind of pressure you're under, and I know you don't claim to be. You say you wake up to lay down 5-star floors every day. That's what you do, and that's a great attitude. But there's some people that have a hard time waking up. As we found out, Aldo couldn't even wake up, and you wake up to lay down 5-star floors. I'm pretty impressed with the progress I've seen from you. Not gonna lie, I didn't know how long this podcast would last. I didn't know if Jeff was gonna call me up and say, let's just say I wasn't banking on this being a super long-term podcast, because I'm like, okay, this is pretty difficult. Jeff and Tyler have some pretty high standards. Parker's 20. You're 20, right? Parker's 20. I'm like, he might just come to his senses and want to go back to college. He might just come to his senses one day and want to start a t-shirt company. He might just, or not come to his senses. So I've got to say, seeing you go through all this, actually being a leader, I mean, I listen to these episodes more than anyone because I'm editing them. Hearing how you're dealing with people, seeing how you actually treat people and talk to people. You're not just a mean boss. I would work for your crew. I think you've earned a lot of respect from guys like Nate and Jeff and Tyler.
Hang on a second. What did he just say? What did he say?
What?
He said he would work for your crew.
We should.
I got a challenge. I got a challenge right now.
What's that?
I want Joey to come work on your crew for a day. Commit right now on the podcast.
I'll do it.
Do it for a day.
I'll do it.
And I want to know your experience.
Caleb, I'm sorry if you didn't want me to do that, but I'm doing it.
Yeah,
It's going to happen.
You might fall in love with concrete coatings.
Yeah. Sorry, Jeff. I can no longer do anything media related for you.
Oh, we can definitely make him not fall in love with it.
And I can wear a GoPro on my head and film the whole thing.
I think it's a great idea. And
I'll do it.
I'm glad I pressured you into it. Do you need a shot?
No, I'm okay.
I've been drinking bourbon this whole time because it's Monday.
I'll do it.
And another twist on When I Grow Up.
The host of the show, the producer, then the host is now Parker's second or third.
Perfect. So when are we doing this? Let's nail it down.
You tell me. Let's put it in the books.
Parker is available Monday through Friday for an extra member of the team.
Oh, okay.
So you tell us. You tell us when you can do it. I want a firm date. Man, I hope it's a job that just absolutely sucks.
I'm going to have to confirm with the keeper of my schedule, which does happen to be my wife. Since I do run my own media business.
Sounds weak sauce, doesn't it?
But we will get it on the books. And we'll have an answer for you.
Before the next podcast.
I'll either have done the job before the next podcast, or we will have the answer for you on the next podcast of when it is happening.
Yeah, we need to do this.
Okay. This is awesome.
Joey might come back with a callus.
Okay, so
you have to make him do all of the stuff, though. Like, he has to run the big grinder and the Metabo. And
The big grinder's going to spin him right into the wall.
So, Jeff, I believe, other than this new surprise that's a surprise to me, I believe that we have a surprise for next week's episode.
Yes, we do. So we actually have a special guest. I'm not going to tell Parker who it is, but we have a previous customer that he did a floor. Yeah, a guy that he did a floor for coming on the show.
This could be really
I've invited
good or really, really bad.
Yeah, I mean, it could go either way, but I picked a guy that I thought the floor looked good actually from the pictures. So
good.
I mean, like I said, Parker's on 26 projects. We haven't had a callback, but I picked one from a customer that I know is an insanely picky asshole.
That will tell you the truth.
He's gonna if it was bad, I knew he would tell me, right? So
wow,
it was actually a guy that I sold the floor to.
Cool. Do either of you have any clothing? Do you have clothing on?
Not underneath of the shirt.
For those of you just listening and not watching, you can't confirm, but we do have this on YouTube as well if you want to confirm that they're not naked. Do you guys have any closing thoughts to end? I think we covered everything.
So real quick, one of the things that you asked me last week or 2 weeks ago was that what is the next step, right?
Yes.
So we had an option where we could send Parker to Madison, or we could send him into the shop to work, and we're gonna do like a hybrid. so we have we closed on a Madison warehouse.
Madison, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Yeah, we do a ton of work there, but we wanted to bring TSR a permanent fixture in Madison, even though we're already doing a ton of work there.
Okay.
And we're going to move some of our people there. We're going to hire people there. So one of the great things about TSR coming to a location is that we're going to recruit, hire, and train people in the area, right?
Cool.
So I'm actually looking for two to four technicians in the Madison area, if anybody from there is listening. Also, but the warehouse isn't ready.
Okay.
So I talked to the leaseholder, and we're about 30 days behind the schedule. So Parker's going to work the way he currently is through November, and then he's going to go work in the shop for 2 months.
Awesome. and with me as his new team member.
I'm pretty
On the
excited
crew.
to see what you think.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see and get an in-depth look at it. So, folks, this has been another episode of When I Grow Up. We will see you all in the next episode.